Werewolf here. I did another video a while back on how Dr. Michael Crichton, best known for writing Jurassic Park, predicted the Me Too movement in his 1993 book, Disclosures. I also made other videos about his numerous and oddly specific predictions about AI. Here's another book by Crichton, which predates even Disclosures, that warns us about the decline that led to today's modern dating culture. Chapter in his autobiography called Travels, the chapter's called They. This takes place in the year 1985. He's asked out on a date by an assertive young professional businesswoman. She initiates going back to his place for X, and then immediately leaves, saying that she has a big day at work the next day. Crichton reflects that he felt used, wondering if she's ever even going to call him back again. So he tells about this to a friend. Now, this guy that he's talking to is somewhat of a player, the guy dated Hollywood models and such. And his friend has a theory. His friend says, men think women want romance, flowers, etc., but that is actually what men want, and what women think that men want is actually what women want. Each side projects what they want onto the intentions of the other. His friend goes on about how they, women, talk about how men talk to each other about their dates, hookups, whatever, in the locker room. And he says, have you ever actually heard guys talk the way that women say guys talk in real life? So Crichton considers his friend's theory, that both sides are the opposite, projecting onto each other of what they really want. So Crichton goes on a number of dates with different career women. He notes that there's nothing really romantic or sexy about these dates, and a lot of times the women just complain about their jobs in male-dominated work environments, saying they are intimidated by women. Men, they always stick together. They view us as objects. He notices the women keep saying they, but they never mention a specific man, say a co-worker or boss, manager, whatever, right? They just describe men as if they're one big monolithic group. Again, this is 1985 that this is going on. Then, the chapter cuts to Crichton at a dinner party. The topic of conversation? Politics. As he listens, he hears phrases from the guests like, they don't protect the environment. They don't know how to run the government. They don't make quality products anymore. They don't report the news accurately. The overall message that he takes away from this is they are running the world, and there's nothing that we can do about it. So Crichton speaks up. Who is they you keep talking about? Instead of they being faceless villains, they're people just like us, doing the best they can. In a corporation, if a corporation is polluting and the CEO sounds uninformed on TV, chances are, says Crichton, he's some guy in the middle of a divorce, his kids are on drugs, and he's got a lot in his mind, and everyone's pushing him on what to do, on how to run his business. And then this pollution issue is just one of the many problems that he's facing right now. Maybe his advisors aren't as smart as they say they are. Maybe they're even lying to him. Crichton goes on to say, I don't know about you, but I think I'm a fairly smart guy. But I don't always run my life so well. So when you make them the problem, you abandoned all responsibility. Maybe they need your help, your letters, your ideas, your active participation, because you are not powerless. You are an active participant in this world. This is your world too. unquote. So, in all these scenarios, Crichton kept hearing the phrase they, and whether it's men describing women, women describing man, individuals describing the power-hungry elite. But in all cases, well, we never really find out about the elite. In all cases, neither group is entirely accurately describing they, the other group. There's difference, there's individualism, there's all sorts of nuance that's not taken into consideration. And then Crichton remembers essentially a flashback, a conversation with an ex-girlfriend from before all this started. They were debating the differences in what men and women are attracted to in a relationship. Crichton, like a lot of people say, said, only men go for looks. She responds, really? She said that they both do. Men and women, she says, want the same thing. So, with all these scenarios, Crichton concluded that in dating, this advice from his ex-girlfriend, that both sides want the same thing, may not be 100% accurate, but is the best advice out of all. There's more to this. Again, the book is called Travels by Michael Crichton. Check it out. Do I agree with everything? Well, I'm not sure, but it definitely made me pause to think about these things, to step outside the box of how I usually look at this stuff. Look, I am freaked out, just like a lot of you, by the Great Reset nonsense. That phrase, by 2030 you will own nothing and be happy. And a lot of us now these days believe in some sort of vast, elaborate conspiracy. Whether it's technocrats like Bill Gates, whether it's the Federal Reserve, maybe the CIA is actually working against us, you name it. And a lot of people insist on their interpretation of that theory. But I am also open to the idea that since most of what I know about these is delivered to me vicariously from sources, citing other sources, and maybe a little bit of a video or a quote here and there, perhaps the conspiracies, while still bad, are not as bad as I think. Maybe from their perspective, these people generally think they're doing good. Then again, we live in the era of Epstein, and who knows what other things are going on that maybe no one knows about. But then again, maybe for the most part, maybe the simplest conspiracy is the best. But Crichton has an important point here. There is always more that we can do to become active participants, to play a part, to change the world for the better, the way we want to see it, to be the change that you want to see in the world. Hey, you can be a change right now and help build my channel. Leave some comments. I want to hear from you, even if you disagree. Share, like, subscribe. Thank you for watching. Until next time, life, liberty, and pursuit of all.